Each year, fewer climbers choose Everest's north face, but they pay the highest price. Fatality rates nearly double those of the southern route, and helicopter rescues are banned by law. Here, isolation magnifies every mistake. Why does this side remain the mountain's deadliest promise? And what makes the risks so unforgiving from the very start? The Tibetan Plateau stretches silent and bare beneath Everest's northern face. Here the wind never lets up, and the mountain feels empty, with few climbers, no crowds, just the sound of boots crunching on ice. Yet this emptiness is deceptive. Between 1990 and 2012, the fatality rate for climbers on the north route was 1.57%, nearly twice that of the more popular southern approach. There are no helicopters standing by, no quick rescues when plans go wrong. If a climber falters, help is days away, if it comes at all. The isolation is total. Each year, only a fraction of Everest's hopefuls attempt this side, but the risks are amplified by the absence of support and the unforgiving geography. On the north, a single misstep or a moment's hesitation can become irreversible. To understand why so many never return, the journey must be traced step by step, from the frozen plains at base camp to the silent heights above the clouds. The trek from the edge of the Tibetan Plateau to advanced base camp crosses a landscape in retreat. The Rongbuk Glacier, once a river of solid ice, has thinned by more than 90 meters since the first British expeditions in 1921. Where early climbers once trudged over deep, unbroken ice, today's route winds across exposed rock and unstable moraines, the glacier surface fractured by meltwater and shifting crevasses. The air grows thinner with every step, but the emptiness is more than physical. Here, the China-Tibet Mountaineering Association enforces a strict ban on helicopter rescues. Even at base camp, no air support can reach stranded climbers. Any emergency unfolds at the pace of yaks and porters, with help measured in days, not hours. By the time climbers reach advanced base camp at 6,400 meters, they have already crossed a no-man's land where self-sufficiency is not just a virtue, but a requirement. The mountain's isolation is absolute and the climb has barely begun. At 7,000 meters, the climb turns sharply upward. The North Col ice ramp rises at a punishing angle between 35 and 50 degrees, etched with blue ice and hidden crevasses. Climbers must trust their lives to fixed ropes anchored in the glacier, each step a calculation. The cold bites through layers and the wind scours the slope, but the real danger is gravity. Here, a single slip means an uncontrolled slide, gathering speed across hard ice with nothing to stop a fall except the anchor points if they hold. The risk is not theoretical. Falls have claimed lives on this stretch, the slope too steep and the altitude too high for any meaningful rescue. Oxygen saturation drops below 70% and decision-making slows. Every movement is deliberate, every grip is checked twice. The North Col is not just a passage, it is a test. Those who falter here rarely get a second chance higher up the mountain. From Camp 1, the route climbs onto a plateau swept by the jet stream. Gusts can reach 100 kilometers an hour, flattening tents and tearing at exposed skin. There is no shelter here, just a scattering of tents anchored to rock, flapping in the wind. At 7,500 meters, the air is so thin that every step feels borrowed. Climbers huddle in down suits, faces hidden behind goggles and masks, but the wind finds every gap. Sleep comes in short, restless bursts, broken by the roar of the gale. The landscape is empty, a white expanse that stretches in every direction. Landmarks vanish in blowing snow. Fatigue creeps in, not just in the legs but in the mind. Simple tasks become difficult. Small mistakes, forgetting to secure a glove or misplacing a crampon, can escalate quickly. The pressure to keep moving grows. Summit fever sets in, a quiet urge that drowns out caution. Oxygen supplies are limited, and some climbers begin to ration their use, gambling on clear weather and strong legs. The climb now becomes a contest between hope and exhaustion, with the death zone looming just above. Camp 3 sits at 8,300 meters, perched on a slope where the air holds less than a third of the oxygen found at sea level. Above this line, the human body can no longer adjust. Cells begin to die, muscles waste, and thinking grows confused. Blood oxygen saturation drops to 60% or lower, far beneath the threshold for normal function. Without supplemental oxygen, more than half of all climbers who perish here do so because their bodies simply shut down. In this place, every movement is a negotiation with gravity and time. The margin between life and death is measured in minutes and milligrams of oxygen. In May 2006, David Sharp, a British climber, reached this altitude alone, without enough oxygen to last the night. He sheltered in a shallow cave, but as darkness fell, he became too weak to move. Over 40 climbers passed him during their summit pushes, but by then he was unable to speak or respond. No one could carry him down. In the death zone, rescue is not just difficult, it is often impossible. Above Camp 3, the mountain does not forgive hesitation or error. The only way out is down, and for many, that is no longer an option. Above 8,400 meters, the route narrows to a single line beneath the 3 steps. The first step is a scramble over broken rock, but it is the second step that halts even the strongest climbers. At 8,610 meters, a near-vertical rock wall rises 30 meters above the ridge. Only a short aluminum ladder, 6 meters long and anchored to the steepest section, offers a way up. Climbers must first navigate exposed rock, then balance in crampons on narrow rungs, hands numb, legs shaking, all while the wind claws at their backs. A queue forms here, each person burning through precious oxygen as they wait. Every minute spent motionless at this altitude drains strength that cannot be regained. There is no room for error. A slip means a fall of thousands of feet. Above and below the ladder, the route is littered with reminders of past attempts, bodies in faded down suits, some visible for decades, their colors marking a place known as Rainbow Valley. People do not move them, the risk is too great. The second step does not forgive hesitation. Each climber who passes knows that turning back is almost as dangerous as going on. The summit ridge stretches out as a narrow band of snow and rock, barely wider than a pair of outstretched arms. On one side, a 2,000-meter drop falls away into Tibet, and on the other, the Kangshung face plunges just as far. Here, the path is only 1 or 2 meters across, with the wind tearing at every step. The sense of arrival is a mirage, and the danger only sharpens at the top. In 1924, George Mallory and Andrew Irvine vanished somewhere along this ridge, last glimpsed moving toward the summit before disappearing into cloud. Their story lingers in the thin air, a warning to those who pause too long or trust the illusion of safety. The summit is close, but the ridge demands total focus. One misstep, one moment of distraction, and the mountain offers no second chances. Standing on Everest's summit, the descent begins with a simple truth. Most deaths happen after the top is reached. The body is already depleted, oxygen tanks are nearly empty, and the mind is clouded by exhaustion. On the north route, more than half of all fatalities occur on the way down, each step a test of will as much as strength. In May 1996, a sudden storm struck just above Camp 3, trapping climbers from the Taiwanese and Indo-Tibetan border police teams in hurricane-force winds and temperatures dropping to minus 40 degrees Celsius. 8 climbers died, unable to move or call for help, their strength lost to the cold and the thin air. There are no quick rescues here, no margin for error. Even the most experienced can misjudge their limits. On this side of Everest, the summit is only halfway. The real danger waits in the long descent, where fatigue and fading oxygen turn every decision into a matter of survival. Even as technology advances, Everest's north face remains ruled by isolation and law. No helicopters, no second chances. Here, the margin for error is vanishingly thin. Each ascent is a reminder. Ambition still meets its true limit in the mountain's silent, unforgiving air. What would drive you onward?